drinks, we just sell drinks.
Inside
So we just bring in vendors as well. So I noticed that people using the space more.
Don't do it.
I will start with the earliest, very beginning. I can even show you photos on my phone.
Okay.
So this was the first building that we built here.
Okay.
Just forget about this one. This structure you're looking at
Was the first?
was the first one.
Yeah.
And he built it up to this level in 1967.
Even before I was born.
1967.
Wow.
What he wanted to do was that before that time in 1961, he was one of the founding members of the Mbari Club.
Yes, definitely.
So when the Mbari was disbanded around that 64, 65 and all that, he wanted to continue the Mbari movement.
Yeah.
But this was his opportunity to now start activating his career in architecture and design. Because before then he was only designing sets for Shrinker's Play, for designing sets for the performances of the Mbari Club. He wanted to continue in design and architecture despite not studying. So this was the perfect opportunity to build his own space and so that his craft can blossom from there. So this was his first ever major experiment in active construction and design. So what he did was that because he was really intentional with functionality and self-sustainability, he wanted to use the same materials of what was built in the olden days with mud and this thing. But again, during that time, there was already some sort of ban on using strictly mud to build houses in city and urban centers. So he had to now create what people are now calling latcrete. So these blocks is excavated from the ground here.
Yeah.
Yes, he did not go to quarry or anything. He dug up the sand. So this is 80% laterite from the ground, 20% cement. Cement is the bonding agent to make it strong and hard. So he was not completely against cement. He just felt that cement would be better for the formwork to make the building strong, and can also be mixed into the same laterite to make it stronger than even the mud houses, but have that same insulation functionality that the mud houses have. So like now when we go inside the theater, you will feel the complete temperature change.
Wow.
You feel it.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So this is our Baba. He has been working with my granddad as a head carpenter.
Let's see Baba. See Baba. Baba, hi. Face Baba. What a guy.
Baba was one of the first carpenters to work with my granddad on site here. This man is over 80, almost 80, if not over 80. So he's still around, he's still active, he's still working. Basically anything that has to do with renovating our furniture, he's the one that is in charge of it as well. So he has been with the family since 1971.
Wow.
I wasn't even born. He has been with my granddad. So by 1970, he now moved their apartment. So he called it the New Culture Studios because instead of calling it Mbari or Mbari Part 2, he felt that the area we had sort of shifted from our culture because we kept on attracting too many Western numbers. So he wanted...
He saw it quite early.
So he wanted to a space where we are not renaming our cultural values and indigenous practices in that. So this is the first physical hub for creative. This was the first physical building. So inside this building here, you have completed fine and applied arts design. So as we set up the first African design center. He had his print press where he started printing the new culture here, and then he had his media suite where he was doing photography, film. Ola Balogun started his film career from here. In fact, I even have the camera that Ola Balogun used. He started his career from here. So what now made him to shift and start expanding was that when they now did the open call that Nigeria was hosting the Pan-African Black Heritage Festival, which is Festac 77. So they were looking for designs to accommodate the performances. So the original plan was that Festac was meant to happen in Lagos, Ibadan, Benin, and Kaduna. So they needed design inspiration for performance houses and all that. So my granddad wanted to build the cultural center in Ibadan. But because he didn't study architecture, NIA then, they did not let him put in any formal submission. So he now bought the remaining piece of land here and dig and made a live model of an amphitheater. So the Minister of Works there now commissioned him to design the cultural center. So the cultural center is design. Is designed after the model of an amphitheater. So they didn't let him build it, but that same year they now allowed him to build the one in Benin City, the Obakenza Cultural Center. But because we're having too many coups, eventually they now made it that the festival should only happen in Lagos, and they now built Festac Town. That was the first time we're seeing the proper wastefulness of our government with the funds, because they had already awarded contracts for Cultural Center Ibadan. You can see that, and it was built and never used. Cultural Center Benin, built still and never used. And then they had almost started the one in Kaduna. In fact, they had bought the land, they had started foundation. And they cancelled all that, even though they are giving full funding, and started building Festac Town. And then the National Theatre too was part of the program too. They had already started building National Theatre. But you know, the Cultural Center is older than the National Theatre. So now this new Culture Studio Amphitheatre is older than all of them. So this was the amphitheater was the first inspiration design. So since we have started building one, we said, okay, why not complete the amphitheater and then build the actual physical hub that he wanted to build and move all operations there. So he had now converted this place into his private office and private residence and family residence, and then he now moved operations there. So it was now in a larger scale. You have office spaces there, you have craftsmanship workshop for fine artists and any sort of craft artists. You have now a showroom and a gallery for art exhibitions there, a classroom and a library space, then the practical theatre space, a full dance studio that they have built there, and then finally a media suite. So he just built a larger scale of what he was squeezing in this first building here. And you can see this is the spiral staircase, the final staircase before this building. So when you come, there's a door there. He goes up to his office to work, and then this window was his art studio. So here in Ibadan, he was having active terracotta workshops. He was trying to revive the terracotta culture. So he started doing workshops where he felt that terracotta was a perfect mix of laterite and clay. And it worked. Those terracotta sculptures are still in his office in the village, still standing. And the beautiful thing was that he used a local kiln. He could not buy it, he couldn't afford it, so now he manufactured his own kiln with clay bricks, and then using firewood to fire his terracotta work.
Sir,
yes, sir.
You mean all this block and brick,
yes,
they are fired?
No. These ones are not fired. These ones are made like normal blocks.
Okay.
Red sand, laterite sand, and cement.
Okay.
With water, and it will dry, and that's it. And you lay it. But these ones, he had to fire them because they were exposed to regular heat for the kiln. So these ones, he had to fire them. Eventually, he collapsed because he said he got the mix wrong, but he was able to correct it. So now, one of the projects that I'm doing is that we're calling it a restoration project. That will be from next year. Is that all these projects that he did, these experimental projects, we are going to restore all of them.
Because I went to one this sculpture or something, Atamara.
Yes.
So very close to Wasimi. I was in that studio. When I got there, you have something like this,
yes. No,
firing the clay.
Yes, if you do it,
so and it's a
lasts forever, yes.
Even make some bricks that's fired and try to make a kind of guest house for people.
Yes.
He used specifically all the something. He didn't use block or any cement or something.
Yes.
He used brick throughout.
Yes.
Even the what they call it, the concrete.
Yes.
So he mixed everything together, and it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Even more stronger than the one we have nowadays.
No, these ones, they are very
so more stronger. So
what
that's
my granddad believed in is that he felt that technology is a universal dialogue between two cultures.
Of course.
So he felt that when the West came, we were supposed to sort of take what we can from their technology to merge with what they have and then exchange, not completely abandon. So he was not, and never against my brother, never against concrete. We just felt that concrete was not insulating the heat like the mud houses did. So why do we have to use it for the whole building? It didn't make sense. And then we have to now put ACs and run generators. And
Even comparing
he was
our
thinking ahead
weather,
that he
the
knows
weather
that
we have
the
here.
way Nigeria is, we are not going to have 247 lights.
Of course.
He was thinking ahead. So he knew and said, okay, let him build something that will be sustainable for every weather. So now that we're under this hot sun, inside that house there, we get up to, because we check the temperature, we get up to 28 to 27 degrees during the dry season. Then the rainy season, inside at night, it's as cold as 18, 19 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with AC and
Even that theory, it was even applied to this what they call it, Dominican.
Yes.
So because all the place, no need of AC, every place is.
But you can imagine how perfect the Dominican is.
Which one?
Here was fully experimental. So anything we have to learn about.
If I want to talk, I will call him so that you can cover me.
To now apply it in his new buildings. You can see the Dominican feels like a much more refined look compared to what you are seeing here. You know that even in creating art forms and motif design, we learned everything here as well. This is our transparency process. This is where we do. Actually, all those furnitures you saw in the Dominican, they were all made here. All those furnitures. And this is where he started our now factory in Delta State, which he has been running since 1980. But from 1970-71, he had started running a manufacturing workshop here. So even for our stage production, this is where we build our sets. And then even over time, what we do is that we also open up the space to other crafts workshop, carpenters, tailors that they're looking for a space where they want to produce something based on one project that they do. We recently did a practical. So we are recreating laterite blocks, but now has also breeze blocks too as well on this side. I just made these yesterday. So these are normal cement blocks because I was trying to do the comparison as well. So I used the local bricklayer, nothing special. I did the mix myself. Just yesterday.
You learned this from your grandpa?
Yes. Yes.
You know in African setting, if you want to, these things are being passed from generation to generation.
Yes.
So did you ever meet your grandpa
At any time?
Period of your
My entire holiday from SS3 as I finished secondary school till I was done with university, I spent it with him. I spent it with him. Because I was curious, I wanted to know what was happening here. Because I didn't grow up here. We moved to Ibadan from the main city. And I did not know that all this was happening. So I was asking questions and I said, Lala, you'll not give me the answer like that.
You must come and learn.
So I must come and learn. So every holiday, long holiday, short holiday, especially strike, I was with him in the village. I was just, and it was not like I was sitting by his side though. He would put me to work. He would send me to the factory. I'm working with the workers. I'm collecting salary like the workers. There was nothing special like Oga Pikini. I was on full-on worker. But then at the end of the day, I will not spend hours with him at home discussing, and he tells me about his story. So these are just
the difference between this and this. Because that's
so this is more cement on the mix. So it's about maybe 50-50.
Okay.
So more cement on the mix. This one is more laterite. So to make these ones, I used about 6 headpans of laterite sand with half a bag of cement to make this. About 6 to 7 headpans. Then if you want a full bag of cement, you use about 12 to 13 headpans of laterite. And it's just laterite, cement and water, nothing else. You put it in your mold. They brought the mold here. I told them, okay, bring it, because I will, we had a client, because I'm also pushing into architecture too as well, who was looking for breeze blocks, but he didn't want the normal concrete breeze block, and he didn't want the one painted. And I just suggested, so I made this as a sample for him, and he likes it. So now we are taking it to his side. We're going to make about over 100 for him. He wants it for his corridor, for his office, which is almost about 12 meters long. Instead of having a glass and aluminium across the office, he said, why not this? Why not this? And then over time, it gets stronger over time, and all that. He's not worried about painting ever again. and then that whole glass and aluminum thing was just not working with him. He wanted something to last for a long time. So these were samples that I just made yesterday, and he's been approved that he wants more of this. So the only difference that we're now going to make a mold with a custom design. Because this one is normal.
Design. So
Yeah, normal.
he has his own design.
He has his own design as well. So anything craftsmanship in this workshop, we do here. We do here completely. Samples of blocks, carpentry. Those high pillars you saw in the Dominican, those are the leftover logs. There, those pillars inside the chapel, those wooden pillars inside the chapel. So those are the leftover logs. So when I started restoring, so someone had told me that there's a one or so. I now went to he was in his workshop. He wasn't even using it. The legs were broken. So I just told him that Baba Wonko's grandson said, oh yeah, take it. That you know that he took it some time ago and all that. So I just brought it here. Very, very old bench. Nothing, and the legs, because my granddad, anytime he makes a new furniture, so if a client asks for 10, he's going to make 25. He will give the 10, then the 25 you keep it in storage, and everything is an individual part. So this whole bench is an individual part. Each leg and the joints are individual parts. So I have the parts in storage. I did not buy new wood.
So you just went and picked and
all three of the legs. I did not buy new wood.
Did he join the parts?
Tungstils and pegs.
And pegs.
Yes.
no form of
Nail.
Say that the first time that I came, you have to look at the nail. I'm going to remove the nails completely.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm going to have to remove the nails because it's tungsten and pegs. But all the legs, I did not buy any single wood. Same thing too with these pegs that I see here. All the parts, I have them in storage here. So rehabilitation, we're using the same old material as well. Because again, when he was doing all these things, my granddad does not design for design sake. He will not sit down and say, I'm designing this. It's when you bring work to him. Till now, he will never sit down and say, I'm designing because I'm a designer. In fact, if you go and visit him now, he will ask you that, have you built your house? Let me design and build house for you. That's the thing, I'm not that expensive. At 89, he's still hustling for jobs.
They gave him an award
In Venice.
Yes,
Yes.
because they sent us the ID.
Okay.
The invites. And I think they did one in Abuja.
Yes, they did one in Abuja.
It was the one in Abuja that they sent the
Yes,
ID.
yes, they did one in Abuja.
The tenant?
No, resident director for stage performance. So we have stage plays about every two months of the year. And we have a on-site resident director who produces and directs his own performances. And then when we have other troops that want to come in, maybe they don't have a director, he also directs plays for them as well. So he's currently camping here with his troop. They've all gone on a short break because we have a play on the 22nd. I'll send out the invite and this thing. And our next play is April as well. So he and I, we were colleagues together in UR. So he was staging play from his 100 level till he graduated and set up his theater company. So I just dragged him down here, and he has been here for almost 7 years now.
Oh, that's nice.
So, but everything we do is community based. Like I said, that's the idea I was talking about, self-funding is our program. Because when you have a community, that is coming in for the same cause, you think you realize that basically virtually everything you need is within the community. Whether it's a set designer, a dancer, a makeup artist, whatever. We always find a way to sort of self-contribute.
Sorry.
Before we ask for the funny. So this is it. So you can imagine someone building this as a live model. Just to say he wants to prove to you that he can do something. You can imagine him doing this as a live model. Why? Because NIA refused to allow him to drop any. So he said, okay, fine. And he built and started excavating. And the moment you excavate, you use more sand. More sand for more blocks. So you can imagine how affordable it was for him. The only major material that he was spending money on was cement, iron rod, and stone walls. But all the blocks, everything, all here. All here. He did not go outside for 1 week. And if he wanted, You could have also still used this laterites and cement and to cast beams if you wanted. And it will give the same color of the bricks if you wanted. But because he was also trying to prove a point that he never discarded the use of cement.
Okay.
So he just saw that cement and cement blocks were not used to build the houses completely. Look at the architecture that we are going through nowadays. Yes, now you feel the complete temperature. So like I imagine sitting here from, because most of our place we start from living from 5 to 6. We've never had any children here. Every time we have a full house, nobody is complaining. Inside here, it's not possible. And even when during the season, if rain is falling, people will be working with having students, nobody will and in truth, the African theater performance space is open theater.
Yeah.
Playhouse is open roof. So we don't see it as a deficiency that why is the rain? All the traditional palaces, their courtyards, they are all open roof now. It's now that they are now trying to roof it, because they want to put ACs there and all. His father's palace that was designed and built by his father as a camp is built with mud, it's still standing. And we have a whole courtyard there. We have a whole courtyard there. Yes, in the village, yes, still standing and it's built with mud. Built with mud. So this concept, he got it. What he wanted to do was that he wanted to create the perfect modern African performance space. So, African performance space, we call it a theater in the round or a playhouse. So he knew that the auditorium had to be in a semicircle or a full circle, where the performance will happen in the pits. So he maintained the proscenium stage at the west bank because it was similar to the proscenium front seat of our kings. Our traditional rulers, our obas, all these. Every time you go to visit a palace, the throne seat is always on the exactly. So he said, okay, maybe I'll leave it, and it can also now serve as a multifunctional performance space. So you can imagine having a full dance drama with a stage like this and like that. So you can build your set here, you can have your dancers here, you can have your dialect here, or vice versa, whichever one. But a performer needs to have a space for as big as possible. So he was thinking more of the performance than the audience for this.
Because I can see a number of wooden chairs, Abi. Arrangement is a bit small.
Yes, but if you want a larger crowd, then you cannot put it there.
And then you can use stage.
But if you are looking for a full dance film, which is what he's used to, you need the whole stage. And that's what he did like that. He thinks about how the space should benefit the artist and his craft more than the people that want to come and see.
Because if they are comfortable, they'll be able to display more.
They'll be able to display more.
Not the one that they are cramped in one particular place.
Yes, and you have the option of saying that, okay, you can stage your play for an entire month if you want, just during intervals, because people will know that, okay, if you are booking ticket, they'll say, oh, sorry, Tuesday and Thursday is booked. The next ticket available is for the following week. That brings in continuous progress of a performance space and a performance house than having a big auditorium and is a once in a while thing. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. So around here, you have up there, which is currently locked, is the proposed space, that's the media suite. Now the other space opposite it is the full practical theater. So a dance studio with a huge space, wooden floor that is meant for anything performance practicals. Okay. Then in the middle spaces here, there's a library and a classroom, and that's the gallery and showroom. We just launched it November. We opened it, we called it the New Culture Collection. So the next exhibition we're having is April for the year. And then you now have the lobby space, and then you have a bar. So you can see that it was built to accommodate every form of artist and creative. Yes, he was thinking ahead of the time.
He was thinking ahead.
He was thinking ahead.
And that was one of the things about the people that formed that in Bari.
Yes.
That time in Ibadan, showing Kaza. They knew what they wanted. You know, not now that all they wanted.
I just want to ask a question. Where did Baba train?
Train?
Yeah.
His only ever certificate apart from secondary school is a diploma in finance from Zaria.
Where is all this inspiration?
All this inspiration, he was self-taught. and passion for the
Didn't
craft.
you? I just told you that Baba was forward thinking.
This is passion.
This is
This is passion. He has
passion.
never, and I'll tell you the ironic thing. He got scholarship to study architecture in Zaria. But when he went to go and check it, he saw that they were teaching Western architecture. So he abolished it, turned the scholarship down, and borrowed money to study fine arts the next year because he also felt as an architect, you need to have a background knowledge in fine arts. And now came the following year to now apply to study fine arts. It was in his second year that they now eventually gave him the scholarship. And it was good because by the time he started studying fine arts there, him and his colleagues, Uche Okeke, Bruce Onogwekwera, Yusuf Grillo, that's how they formed the Zaria Art Society. They started rebelling against their European teachers that were teaching. They said, no, we want to learn indigenous African art, not. They were the pioneers for the contemporary Nigerian art that everyone is studying and practicing today. So, but right from when he was a child, he wanted to be a designer because his first inspiration was his father's palace because his father is a prince. And the palace was designed and built by his father as a crown prince with mud. So he was astonished. He was like, who built this thing? And he says, it's your dad who got it. So he, right from when he was a child, so he held on to that dream. And no matter what else, he knew that it was so. He found the opportunity. So he said, okay, now that he has studied finance, so what did he do? He went into scenic design. So he went to Paris for a year, shortly after Zaria, and studied scenic design in the opera. That same year, he was their scenic set designer, and he was part of the opera in Paris at the Le Corbusier Theatre. So what brought him back to Ibadan and Nigeria was that they now they made an announcement that they were about to open the School of Drama, which is now the Department of Theatre Arts. It was the Rockefeller Foundation that set it up. It was a grant that he gave. So he left everything he was doing in Paris
and came to
Ibadan and applied as a lecturer. He was the first black lecturer to be employed in that department there. It was then known as the School of Drama. In UI, yes. He left everything he was doing in Paris. The fame he was already gaining in the opera. He ran down here, and then that's how he joined the Mbari Club. So his circumstances that led to one thing or another. He never for once said that he was going to build a new culture studio. What led to building this was that the Mbari Club had been disbanded, and he wanted to continue what the Mbari Club stood for, a collaboration house. And I was like, okay, fine, I will build my own theater, I'll build my own space. Did he know the magnitude of what he wanted to build?
He knew. He just started gradually, and then he kept expanding.
Expanding. And this was it. By 1978, he had, because this was an 11-year project, 1978 he had built up to this stage and built that extension at the
I know the beauty of this is that he was taking his time. It
was
wasn't as if he
taking his
was
time.
rushing.
No.
Oh, I need to do this within 1 year, 2 years. It took him 11 years, right?
It took him 11 years, from
11 years to complete
1967 to 78. And that was even when the Civil War started. And he's not a Yoruba man, he was from Delta. He stayed here, we didn't go. Yes, when the soldiers would come and say that we heard that there's a crazy Igbo man on the road, the workers would protect him. If you speak Yoruba, you look like Polytechnic with the Afro. They say, no, we don't have any Igbo man here. That's what I'm talking about. The workers protected him. He stayed here. What was he going to flee for this? He said, no, he stayed here with the family. He stayed here with his wife, my dad, and his siblings, and his mother. His mother died in 1968. He took her home, buried her, and came back and continued working. But he's all for the work. In fact, I can show you a video of him just December. There's a chapel that he built somewhere in a village for an Anglican church in 1980. So they didn't finish it. So this December, someone volunteered to complete it. This is a man partially blind on top wheelchair, and he was saying, all I want is work.
Oh my God.
I will send you the video.
I need that video.
I need that video.
So
he was happy, and he's not saying what's happening. Partially blind, because of his old age and this thing. And he said, all I want is work. He was happy that the man said, yes, I will complete this thing.
That tells you that whatever, you see that passion is a thing of the heart.
Yes, it is.
It has nothing to do with your sight.
Has nothing to do.
It's the heart.
Yes. That's why when people tell him that, oh, you're a genius, so you designed this. He said he did not do all these things because he was looking for accolades. He was doing this thing because all he wants to do in this life is work. He feels that's the calling that God brought him from his life as an artist, to work and create. He said that is an African lifestyle. It's an African culture to work and create. So he never did it to say that no. Whether he did not think that years after the whole world wants to come and study. And that's why he likes to say that this thing is not rocket science. Because if you look at the design from, I told you why he used the red brick for now. Think about it now. This theater like this, if when I invite you for a full play, you will not think that it's an uncompleted building.
Of course not.
One, it has natural acoustics. That's one thing. There's natural lighting. So even if we're doing a play at night, by the time I slap 2 or 3 lights up here, it's fine. Natural ventilation. So even production cost is at the minimum. It's completely at the minimum. So in reality, what is your excuse not to? You thought not to create something as a creative. That's why he built a space like this as well. And we don't have any place like this in the country still.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't.
And he kept on saying that the art, it is not a commercial craft. And he knew why. Because now, if you say you want to do a stage play, you first have to rent the hall. If you go to a big hall, you rent the hall almost 2 million naira. You rent speaker, almost 500,000. You rent lights, the same almost 500,000, and microphones. But here, you will bring your actors, no microphone, no nothing. They will perform. The projection. Yes, now look at the technology. And this is his believing in technology and cultural convergence. This stone walls is the technology of the Colosseums in Rome and Greece. He traveled there and said that the opposite is the stone walls. I will do the same thing here. Came back and he just slapped stone walls everywhere. And worked. Worked. Just to tell you that the man, he doesn't think too far. He's thinking about what will be sustainable for a long term and what will also help, to reduce production cost and all this. That's what he's thinking of. Something that will last for a long time. He's not thinking about a luxury material.
Generalize that reduce in cost.
Yes.
Because the same thing applies to that.
Yes. Now, ironically, stone wall has turned to luxury material for construction. Same as wood.
Yes.
Look at the irony of it. Because what happened? Nigerians, we touched the great stone wall and started importing Chinese doors. Now the Chinese doors are starting. Come back to this material.
It's like we have a particular wood that so used because this wood there's no termite invention or anything.
No, this is natural driving. Natural driving. This is hardwood. This is a local timber we call Oma. Okay. And there's a few mahogany. We have access to this wood. 20 years ago. The National Institute of Forestry in Ibadan. What will happen is that you don't pay for the trees. You pay the seedling, you buy seedlings. So if you cut 1 tree, you have to buy seedlings for 5 trees. And they had almost a police, like a police unit. So when you are cutting trees from forestry, they will mark your tree. And so that when their local police is meeting, stopping on you, once they see the marking, they know you are clear. If you cut trees, it's a criminal offense. Yes, you'll be arrested.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Even around here, where we can continue our
Talk at the shade here.